Allow us about 2 more minutes. to
Mr.
get
Bailey?
Everything in place.
Okay, we'll wait. I see Mr. Bailey's not here.
We're ready, Madam Chair.
Okay, we'll try this again. Welcome to the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Commission. This is our public hearing for May the 24th, 2023. I call the meeting to order. We start each one of our meetings with an invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would like to participate, please stand.
Let us bow. Our blessed Lord, how we thank you for being so merciful and kind to each of us. Thank you, Master, for providing all that we will need to live and subsist on this earth. Now, Lord, as we assembled ourselves in this place, Lord God, we ask the Father that each person that's here and represented on today would be respectful of one another, O Lord. You give us direction and guidance as we go through this meeting on today. We give you the praise, we give you the honor, we give you the glory. It is in Jesus' name we pray and ask it all. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Humphrey and Ms. Hart. Okay, once again, welcome to our regularly scheduled public meeting of the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Commission. For public hearing agenda items, if you wish to make a public comment on an application, we have PZC comment slips at the speaker stand next to the podium. For future notification purposes, it is very important that you fill out a slip and drop it in the box when you come forward to speak. Please state your full name, your mailing address, and your zip code before addressing the board. We will call each case on the agenda in order and hear from the applicant, then those speaking in favor. 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. We will then hear from those wishing to speak against an application. Again, 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. One representative of the application can then speak in rebuttal if desired. After hearing comments on each case, the board will then immediately deliberate and vote on that case before moving on to the next case on our agenda. Please note that when the board is deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to comment. Any member of the public may request a copy of the board's decision on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 1 p.m. tomorrow, or by accessing our website at shreveportcaddompc.com. For consent agenda items and other agenda items not requiring a public hearing, public comments can be made upon request by filling out a MPC comment slip. If comments are requested for a specific agenda item, the chair will offer an opportunity for those comments prior to the commission taking action on the agenda item. All of the PZC board's zoning recommendations are submitted to the Parish Commission for a final decision. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact the governing body about their procedures as related to the matter you are concerned with. Copies of this document and phone numbers to contact the governing bodies are available on the table next to the podium and in the entryway to this room. As a courtesy, please remember to turn off all cell phones while the MPC board is in session. This commission values your testimony and appreciates your compliance with these guidelines. I'm going to go off script just for a second here. We have a lot of people in the chamber today, so we're going to be very tight on our time. So please make sure that you pay attention to what's on this board up here to my right, your left, or straight ahead. It'll tell you how much time you have when you approach the podium. And if you'll just keep an eye on it as you start speaking, it'll start blinking red when you have 10 seconds left, I believe. And you'll need to be closing it up at that time. That'll help us to make sure we get everybody to the podium so they can be heard today, okay? All right, that then now brings us to our approval of minutes from our prior meeting on April 26, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Marshev. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Humphrey. Can we vote, please? Motion on 6-0 for approval of minutes for the prior meeting on April the 26th. All right, we're going to move right into our scheduled public hearings. We have agenda item 6, case number 2312P, a rezoning case for CLINT Allen. Is someone here as the primary spokesperson for this case? Okay. Mr. Allen, you will, once you state your name and address to us, you will have 10 minutes to speak.
Okay.
Okay?
Clint Allen. We're going to talk about 0 Albany Road right now. 4805 Fairway View is my physical address.
Okay.
What I'm proposing today is rezone this to a C4 because of the storage is what's going to make it go a C4. Open land is for the RV park. The C4 is for covered storage only for RVs. I have obtained 20 acres here, and I just want to put 10 RV places on it, and then a covered storage where we can park RVs under it for other people in the area. The reason why we wanted to do this little RV park is my family's real big in RV, and my sister's a travel nurse, and she came home this year, and she didn't have anywhere to live. So I was like, here, come pull up in my driveway, and you can just stay here. Well, then she got a contract here it's not. She called around to get monthly spots. She was on a waiting list at 6. She called 6, but she was on a waiting list for a monthly RV spot. So me and her kind of got together and put our heads together and see if we could come up with somewhere that we can available her and there's other people that are having this problem too. She works in the hospitals, and I work at UOP Shreveport, and we have travels from all over that do monthly. So maybe I could, give them places to come in too. So on this map, there's 20 acres, and the entrance to this property is 660 feet long, running east to west, 335 feet down south to get into this property. I'm going to leave a 20-foot buffer. So this is the property that's coming in here. So I want to leave a 20-foot buffer. Let me turn back to this picture. This is the land. The 660 feet coming in from Albany Road, 335 feet down, and this is where I want the RV park inside, and the storage is the yellow area. And the wings, the north wing and the south wing. I do not want to do anything with the north wing and south wing. The layout plan on this is the trees. I want to leave a 20-foot buffer around the whole property for, just so nobody has to look at really what's going on, and I don't want to change any scenery from anybody else. But like I said, I just want to have 10 spots, and my wife will run it, and she'll take care of all of that. There will be a gate. It'll have a code in the front, 10 o'clock curfew, that nobody even comes in. You can't even sign in after 10 to being courteous to everybody else. The entrance road is 27 feet wide on the 660 feet mark, and then when it turns, it widens up on the 335 feet mark. There was concerns about it being wide enough, but that's almost legal road width anyway, 30 feet on a normal road, but there is fences on each side. So, there is visibility. It's a straight run. If somebody wants to come out, come back, we'll just have to address with that at that time. But there will be a gate code, and people monitoring this place. We're gonna, during the day, but at night, we're gonna try to have a camp host and somebody that can on site at all times. And I live 3 miles from this place. I grew up here in the area. I was born and raised in Mooringsport, and I live in Blanchard. But I just want to rezone this. I'm trying to rezone this right now to C4. Just the C4 brings me, like I said, just to the storage. That's pretty much what I got.
Okay. Hold on just a second. We need to see if we have any questions for you. Do we have any questions for the applicant? No questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak in support of this application? Please come forward. In support. Okay, is there, I don't see anybody else. Okay, is there anybody here that would like to speak in opposition of this case? Okay, now the primary spokesperson is going to have 10 minutes. Okay. So, okay, just want to make sure you choose wisely. Okay.
Put that down a bit. My name is Beverly Zaia. I live at 5265 Albany Road, and that is right across the street from where this driveway would be slanting. We've lived here for about 19 years, and I'm against this change in zoning, and I believe that many of my neighbors feel the same as I do. Many have signed our petition of opposition to this change. The proposed development of an RV park and storage is not consistent with its surrounding properties, our homes. This is a residential, agricultural zoned area, and it needs to be kept this way. We have our homes, pets, gardens, and animals. What we do not have or want is a storage area, an RV park, or a campground here. They are not consistent to our neighborhood. However, they would be consistent on North Market or around Caddo or Cross Lakes, but not here on Albany Road. They don't belong here. The C4 heavy commercial zoning district is intended for areas of more intense commercial use, including uses related to motor vehicles and those that may require outdoor storage. Well, the C4 zoning would cause a large impact on our neighboring uses that would not be for our betterment, and controls would not be able to stop or lessen the impact of them. Changing this parcel zoning definitely does not protect or preserve the agricultural or residential character of our district. Mr. Allen wants to have daily, weekly, and monthly rates. I bring this up because that means people would be able to stay there for long periods of time, as he even mentioned. It is a fact. Many homeless people, because they cannot afford to rent, are now living in campers and RVs. Would this happen here? Would a campground for homeless people be coming up to us? The first purpose listed in the Unified Development Code is to promote the public health, safety, and welfare. This change in zoning would be detrimental to our safety and welfare if he is allowed to put an RV park or a campground here. Our security and safety could very well be lost. Homeless people or unknown people coming and going into the RV park constantly could bring in someone with very questionable motives. It just takes one person to have bad intentions and cause harm to others. Criminal activity happens every single day, and with this current economy we are in, it's increasing. We do not want to see crime come to our neighborhood. Having a storage area also brings along higher chances of thefts, especially if there would be no one there to be watching over the property all the time. Mr. Allen told us at the meeting that he would make a curfew for visitors and not let them cause trouble. He does not plan on living there or being there 24 hours a day. What is to stop someone from breaking that 10 p.m. curfew when there is no one to stop them? An RV park or a campground should be built near state parks, lakes, and areas where there are many active outside activities available to do, and not near people's homes. We have a great neighborhood as it is now. We all live in single-family homes, whether they be manufactured or stick-built. We look out for each other, and we feel safe in our neighborhood. Safety is one of your goals for communities, and I don't think you want to make our neighborhood more dangerous. Please keep our neighborhood safe as it is now. Another purpose of the Unified Development Code is to preserve and enhance the value of structures, communities, and neighborhoods that constitute the distinct places within Caddo Parish. Albany Road is a distinct place consisting only of residential homes and agricultural uses. As I mentioned earlier, many of us take part in agricultural activities. Clearly, changing the zoning for this proposed use would be a negative impact on our neighborhood. It would not enhance our neighborhood, and it would not preserve the value of our homes or neighborhood by letting this area be turned commercial. If anything, it opens up the door for destroying our neighborhood. Once that door opens, it would never be able to be closed again. We do not want any type of commercial zoning on our road. Would this preserve or enhance our neighborhood? No. Look what's happening to the homes on North Market near I-49 now, and how that area is changing. Too much residential land is being taken over by commercial zoning. Let the heavy commercial zoning stay over there. We have built or bought our homes here because we all wanted to live in a quiet residential neighborhood, free of traffic and city life, without anything commercial that would introduce more traffic and noise to the neighborhood. And one more purpose is to focus growth to support the principles of smart growth by preserving open space and natural areas, reducing traffic congestion, utilizing existing infrastructure and resources, and preserving the quality of life. Well, this would not be a smart growth changing this parcel of land to commercial C4 or to an open space zoning district. If you allow this change in zoning, you will not reduce traffic but make traffic congestion, and you will not preserve the quality of life for our complete neighborhood. It would create an inconsistency in the way we all live now. Our small rural road is not made for heavy commercial traffic. It is a dead-end road with a lot of curves. It would not be able to handle heavy traffic from any section along the road becoming commercial. And C4 is for heavy traffic. Bringing heavy traffic with people unaware of our area would put our children and grandchildren especially in a higher danger from the road. Right now, our children feel safe riding their bikes on the road. We adults enjoy taking our walks on the road. While we drive by other cars or trucks now on the road, we need to watch because the road is very narrow. And sometimes when passing school buses or larger vehicles, we need to head for the shoulders to have enough room to drive by them. Our speed limit is 35 miles and in some places 25. And there is not a place for large vehicles to turn around if they miss the small driveway. We do not want unknown people constantly driving on our road with RVs and large campers, not familiar with the road. We also do not want something built here that might draw more thievery to our neighborhood, especially if it's a storage area. With all of what has been going on in the surrounding area and country, there are many dangerous individuals roaming, looking for their next area to attack. We do not need to bring it into our neighborhood. Mr. Allen has no plans of living here, and he just wants this for commercial reasons. Mr. Allen told me he wants this to produce a retirement income for himself. Yet at the meeting we had, he told us all that he was doing this for us. For us? No. There is nothing in this for us, the community. As soon as he said that at the meeting, we immediately all let him know how wrong he was, that it was just for him, and there would be nothing in this change of zoning that would be for any of us. The long right-of-way only has roughly between 20 to 27 feet plus or minus in width. That right-of-way, which he was talking about, is the driveway, was established by Topaz Land Company when they divided up the land into 5 and 10 acre parcels for homes. It was created to provide a way to reach the landlocked 10-acre tract of land now owned by Mr. Allen, and to become a residential driveway, not a commercial driveway, for whoever would buy the parcel. I don't feel that this narrow right-of-way has enough room to be wide enough for 2 large RVs to pass along and still keep 5 feet from the property lines on both sides of it. Mr. Allen said at the meeting when asked, what would happen if 2 RVs were being driven on this right-of-way heading in opposite directions, such as one coming in and one going out? His answer was, one would have to back up. Back up. Where? Onto Albany Road? Or have to drive in reverse all the way back into an RV park? That should not be allowed to happen. Commercial property needs to be on property with plenty of road frontage and driveway width for the vehicles to be able to pass by each other on separate lanes and to create the required setbacks from other properties. I do not think the driveway width is large enough for that. Would the perimeter distances and buffers from other property borders that is required for commercial businesses and RV parks also apply to this extremely long driveway to get to the parcel of land? It should, because those neighbors should be entitled to privacy also. Mr. Allen did not produce any architectural site plan drawings or surveys at the MPP meeting for anyone to look at. He only brought what looked to be a computerized drawing plot that he brought in today to show you. And he did not even it wasn't to scale. And it wasn't done by a professional architect for the project. And he also brought along a satellite aerial map provided by the realtor. No survey maps. Please do not change the zoning for this parcel of land to commercial or let this become an open space zoning district which could enable him to have an RV park, storage area, or a campground be placed on the parcel. Either of those changes would eventually destroy our neighborhood. We depend on you to stand up for our rights and not let this happen to our neighborhood. We need to keep Albany Road residential, agricultural only with no exceptions. I thank you for this opportunity to speak to you all. And I ask you to thoroughly think about the safety of our neighborhood, the welfare of we the residents, the road problems it would create, and above all, the preservation of quality of life for we, the longtime residents of Albany Road. I will leave you with 2 questions. Which would be more important to you? One person trying to make money or a whole neighborhood of families trying to continue to live peacefully in the country in our homes on the road we love as it is?
Okay, time, Ms. Beverly.
Would you want an RV park or a campground or a storage area next to your own home? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, hold on just a second. We're going to see if there's any questions for you from the panel. Does anybody have any questions? No. Okay, I do. What is the distance, I know this is on Albany Road, but how far away is the New Love's truck stop from this?
It's 7/10 of a mile from my home.
Okay.
Because I live right across the street, as I said before. And I've marked it for when I come into the road, it's 7/10. And the only reason I say that is because I had to do that because when people have come to my own home with a GPS and they have gone by my house because my property is a long stretch, and it tells them that another 1/10 of a mile down the road is where you're going to come to my house. And it does it every time, and they'll call me up, or I'll see them backing up or trying to come back, and then I'll have to wave to them and tell them, nope, here it is. This could happen with this place because it's way over behind several other homes.
Okay,
And this driveway's way over here. They're gonna be going past it.
okay.
And if they go past it, there's no place for anybody to turn around. We've had big 18-wheelers backing it up all the way back out because they couldn't turn around.
Okay, do we have any more questions for Ms. Beverly? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak in opposition for the application? Opposition? Okay, come forward. You'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Diane Walden. I live at 4866 Albany Road. I gave Cherie a copy of some maps or pictures that I had taken to drive down the road to kind of give you an idea. I live at the very first house on the left going in. So my new neighbors are the Love Truck Stop. They took out 10 acres over there or however many acres and put a new truck stop in front of my house, right across the road. And then right next door is Ivy Hardware, my other new neighbor. So now they're wanting to put an RV park down. They've already taken out, cars have taken out my fence. They've taken out my tree in the front yard. They've taken my mailbox and knocked it over in the ditch, a brick mailbox. And now I'm gonna have 2 RVs going side by side that some people that retire don't know how to handle an RV. So I gave you maps of going down that street. Right past their entrance, it goes from a 2-lane to a 1-lane. Right past that, it goes to, and I showed you the street marker sign where it says 15 mile an hour and it shows all the curves. And then it says pavement stops here. And that's not a lie. I mean, I finally called Public Works and had them put a street sign up that said dead end. There is no place to turn around down there. And, you know, if you've ever seen or been on the road when a school bus is coming down that street, you better move over because they're getting rid of their precious cargo. And if you have 2 RVs that are trying to figure out where to turn to go into this park, if they hit the shoulder, 12 Mile Bayou is over that cliff. And we don't need that in our neighborhood. I mean, I already got a lot going on in front of my house. I don't need, you know, down the street having people coming down the road. What are you gonna do when they have 2 family reunions down there? And you have 100 people show up? Where are they gonna park? So please help my neighborhood.
Okay, do we have any questions? You have one? Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you, Ms. Waldron. Is there anybody else that would like to come forward in opposition? Please step up. Okay, you'll have 3 minutes. Thank you.
I'm Kathleen Fuller. I live at 5126 Albany Road. And my issue with bringing RVs down our road is the road is only 19 feet wide in front of my house. What happens when they bring an RV down and we need, God forbid, emergency vehicles down that road? For instance, a fire truck. There's no way they can get past an RV in order to get to the destination they need to be. That's all.
Okay, is there any questions for the speaker? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fuller. All right, is there anybody else that would like to step forward in opposition? Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
My name is Genevieve Bowers. I actually live at 5230 Albany Road, the house that they want to surround there. If you look at that map there, that driveway will actually surround my entire horse pasture and my property line, and it will come right behind my property and surround my area. When we bought this land, we knew it was residential. So I bought it, so I have family there. I knew another family could live behind me, I didn't know 30 families could live behind me. I didn't know that was an option when we put our money into our land. For this man to build his retirement, he is ruining where I will retire. And that's not fair. Our land and our roads are not big enough. They're not going to accommodate his space. My child will have to walk that curve every day when she gets off the bus. So now I have to worry about her walking a curve and getting taken up by an RV. Our bus stops are not out of the houses. We have one before at the beginning of the road and one at the end of our road. That's our only 2 bus stops. My driveway will match up to his driveway. My mailbox will be right where they pull out. My child can't safely walk to the mailbox now because now I have to worry about somebody snatching her. Our house is vulnerable. My safety is vulnerable for his retirement fund. And that's not fair. To make his life better, we have to suffer? It makes no sense. I can go through the facts. I can tell you our roads aren't big enough. I can tell you his little entrance isn't going to be wide enough. But if you went through your file, you've seen my emails. They're lengthy, and they have plenty of facts. I'm just being honest. This is my home. This is where I'll be forever. And I don't feel like I deserve to have an RV park behind my house forever. I'm only 30. I have a lot of life. Hopefully, a lot. And for the rest of my life, I don't think I should have to deal with people literally inches from my house. I shouldn't be afraid to leave my door unlocked because people can walk through my pasture. I shouldn't be worried about my daughter in her teenage years being at home by herself. This might be good for him, but it's not good for anybody but him. And I don't think that's something that just benefits one person who doesn't live in our neighborhood is okay. So, I mean,
Thank you for coming in today. Do we have any questions for Ms. Bowers?
I have one question. And the question I have, because of the parents that are here and the children getting off of the bus, and I know that that's a narrow road, but I'm wondering how does the bus turn around in that short, narrow?
the bus has permission from one neighbor that where the kids get off at, past that curve down there. It's where the last bus stop is. The kids get off there, so the bus driver is allowed to turn around in that one spot. It's where the little church is. That's our only 2 turnarounds. So that bus is allowed to because kids get dropped off there. But Michelle Lane is the road, so it goes down to the church where the kids get dropped off and then turns around. But they get permission from the owner there.
Okay.
But like I said, yeah, those are our only 2 stops on the street. Every other kid has to walk. There is no option.
Yeah.
And like I said, mine's only 11. I got a lot of years. So as a parent, I would appreciate my home being still made safe.
Any more questions?
I've got one. Can you show on the map exactly where your property is?
This white box right here.
Okay.
That is
That's
my
the
whole
one I
property.
thought. That's the
Yeah,
one I
so
thought.
he's gonna surround my entire property. Also, he only plans to buffer this area back here, which means his entire driveway, which is my entire property, will
Right.
not be buffered. Also, I would assume there would have to be some sort of buffer on his driveway between my property and his driveway. You can't build on my fence line. So I would assume he would need a buffer between his driveway and my property line, but he's already went through there and cleared cut everything. He's chopped down trees everywhere and just came and said that this was his property without showing any sort of survey. I've never seen anything. He came out there one day, said, I bought this land and this is mine, and just started cutting stuff down. I mean, so basically it was up to me to get a survey to prove that what was mine because he did it. So basically he's caused more stress than I think I should have to deal with as somebody who is working to pay for my land. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, if UOP retirement and another business hasn't set his retirement up, then maybe he should do better. We're doing the best we can.
Any more questions? All right, Ms. Bowers, thank
Thank
you.
you.
We appreciate you coming in. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak in opposition? Come on forward.
Patrick Hawthorne, 5105 Albany Road. What these ladies have been saying is absolutely correct. The road is very narrow. And for example, I have a single axle pull behind trailer, kind of put lawnmowers on and drive around. If I pass another single axle trailer, I have to pull over to the side and we have to kind of hug the side of the road for both of us to be able to go through it all. And what they're saying is absolutely true, that an RV cannot you cannot get two RVs. You cannot get an RV and another vehicle down that road at all. Something that they forgot to mention is down towards the end of Albany Road, where it gets down to that one lane, there are people down there with horses, and they typically like to ride their horses down Albany Road and back again. What this is going to do is it's going to make it extremely dangerous for them to ride any horses down there. And that's what this area was. It used to be a very rural area that was out in the countryside, and people have horses, and I have donkeys, goats, chickens, pigs. I have all that. And all this is going to do is going to create more traffic in a little narrow road that is not meant for this commercial type vehicle. And that's all I had to say about this. Is they're not kidding. They're being honest. They're being truthful about this. And that road definitely is not fit for a big RV park at all.
Okay,
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? Okay, thank you. All right, I think there was somebody else. Hi.
Sarah Harville, 5340 Albany Road. I live, let me see, I'll get my pen. I live right here. And the land that I'm concerned about is a little narrow strip. He says that he's not going to use that for anything, but further down the road, he could possibly put something back there. I don't know whatever he chooses to, because he does own the property. Me and my husband oppose this because we don't want a 20-acre RV park in our neighborhood. It just doesn't fit in our neighborhood. The crime that is involved, that he would be bringing. Zoning changes would affect my land. I've been out there over 15 years now. We built a house. We have 5 acres. We want it to stay RA, because if I choose to get a horse, if I choose to get a couple of cows, I want to be able to do that. The 24-hour business aspect of owning an RV park, he said the gate's going to be locked. He's going to have a code. Nobody's going to be out there. They'll have a camp host. There's going to be people coming and going at all hours of the night, and who's to say, again, he could use that property back behind my house for anything he chooses. We just want it to stay RA, and the OS, the Open Space District, I have questions about that. I don't know. I couldn't find anything in the code as to what it really means. What does it mean? Could somebody answer that for me?
Mr. Clark, you want her to finish and then answer?
Yeah, just go right
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead, and when we get to the Q&A, we'll answer that for you.
Okay. That's all I really have, but,
Okay.
it just doesn't fit in our neighborhood, anywhere, shape, or form. He says he's going to put 10 spots. Who's to say, next year he might put 80 spots? He has 20 acres of land. If he wants to build a house and live out there, I'm all for that. He could split it up, whatever he wants to do, but not make a neighborhood. I want it to remain 5 acres. 5 acres out there. That's all I got.
Okay. Any questions for the speaker? Okay, Mr. Clark, can you comment on that open space question that she had?
I'm looking it up
Okay.
again.
There's not any real definition, and I know y'all are just new at this, and it's getting started in the 5-mile radius and this and that and the other, and getting a uniform code. I'm just concerned that he's going to be able to put whatever he wants to out there. A C4, he could, blow it up out there. He has 20 acres, and that could be anything.
The reality is that with the RA, it's a host of things that could go out there also, but I'm going to look up the open space. That stands for open space. And
I have it says, open space zoning district is intended for purposes protected as space public recreational facilities, both outdoor and indoor, located within Caddo Parish. Larger regional open space parks may include both active and passive recreational areas and certain auxiliary commercial activities. What's auxiliary? Commercial activities, cultural facilities, performance venues, restaurants. It can just be I don't know. That's what I'm in fear of. I mean, if he can just write it and just make it however he wants it, and I don't want an RV park in my backyard.
I think that pretty well sums it up, what she shared with you. It could be parks, open space, open areas. It's a pretty widely used area.
But primitive, right? Mr. Clark?
Ma'am?
Primitive, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I was gonna say to you, if you wanted an example, there's an open space area. If you're on 220 and you look down before you get to the river on the Shreveport side, there's an area that was cleared that was pretty blighted, and there's primitive cabins and tent camping and things of that nature. We voted on that when we were a combined board.
That's on a highway, you know, I mean, that's
Right, well, I'm
basically
just
the
saying
river
this
road,
example.
you know, that's on a highway, and we live down a residential neighborhood. It's a mile from the stop sign from my house.
Yeah, I'm just saying as an
A mile.
example, that because there's not very many of them, so I'm just saying if you wanted an example of what they.
Yes,
look like.
ma'am.
I get what
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
saying. Okay. Okay, any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to come forward and speak in opposition? Okay. All right, seeing none, the applicant has the right for rebuttal if you would like to come forward and readdress. You have 3 minutes, sir.
I just want to say, it's an RV park. It's the similar thing as a home, a trailer, whatever you live in. It's families, you know, that are coming in and out. I want to give a safe place for people to come, because we go to all kind of RV parks. For this, I found all the pins before I started clearing land. I hired a mulcher guy to come in here. I pull 35-foot goosenecks behind my truck down this road. I turn them around. That's all I can really say on the rebuttal part, is I don't have an issue with it. There's 6 RVs that live on that road already. There's 2 18-wheelers that stay on that road already. There's a company that he parks all of his equipment in his yard. I'm 3,000 feet from Old Mooringsport Rd to my entrance. It's an asphalt company, so they have wide trailers and trucks and whatnot. We just got to be smart about slowing down and going down that road. But that's all I want to do is an RV park, and because my sister will come in town and she will have a place to go. My parents have a camper that they need a place to put it. So I mean, just places. I have a few campers, and you know, I want covered storage for it, because the more you leave them out there in the sun, you know, it's just going to damage it. So that's the reason why I want to do it. I want to help instead of hurt.
Do we have any questions for the speaker?
I do.
Mr. Brown, go ahead.
Actually, is there another way for you to access the property? Because, I mean, I'm looking at the pictures of Albany Road, and it is a small road. And I get, you know, I mean, for me, a lot of times, like, I want to let people use the property they want to use it. But I also don't want the health and safety to come into. I mean, we got kids that live there. I mean, your access in, you're surrounding somebody's property. It's just, I mean, I want to give you your rights to do it, but then on the other hand, you know, also, if it's not going to be safe for the people that live there, I mean, that's a big thing for me, you know, and I want people to use their property, but like, I'd like to know if there's another way that you could possibly access this property.
Well, that's the only right that they give me on there. And this right here, that's 49. That's Interstate 49. I have 3,500 feet of 49 property. There's no way to exit there. The south property down here is owned by the church, and the guardrail comes way too far, and then they have a driveway that drops down in there. And the rest of them are houses. Then that's why you have to turn on Albany Road and go down. It's 3,000 feet straight run, one corner, and then into my driveway. So as Albany Road comes down, it curves, and in that long curve, my property comes in like this, so it's a big opening. It's not 27 feet of driveway. It's a lot further than that.
How long have you owned this property?
3 months.
Who did you purchase it from?
The Topaz Land Company.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, go ahead, Ms. Green.
Thank you. There's always a cause and an effect to everything. And I've certainly heard your concerns about what's advantageous to you and your family, maybe to the community that lives there. So my question to you today is, tell me about some of the negative things that could occur. Surely there is something you would say that you would do for those negative things that could occur to make it a safety place for the residents of the RV park as well as the residents that live there now.
Well, so what I think are the negatives in it?
Yes, yes.
I don't really know if there's any negatives in it, because it's gonna beef up the infrastructure eventually down there, because there was a lot of concerns in the meeting with that, with water. They said they have low water pressure and things. That's what I'm worried about, is hurting the neighborhood on the water side, because I'll have to put in my own treatment plant out there. So, but the water is what I'm really worried about. But then again, that's the infrastructure that I have to address. No, I don't have, but bring it up to somebody for the water supply.
Is that City of Shreveport? Water?
No, no.
Blanchard?
No, it's Pine Hill.
Okay, any more questions?
I have
Okay,
one
go ahead,
more.
Ms. Green.
One more, please. Are there any other parks of this nature nearby that could provide that living quarters, like per se for your daughter? Are there any more in the area that are not full to capacity?
If you're on a waiting list, you have to wait, because it's for monthly. So that's how RV parks work, is you have daily and then weekly and then monthly rents. You want to keep the rental monthlies away from the dailies, because it's more resident. But they're all full because of all the contractors and people that are coming in and working at the hospitals, from what my sister, what she says. And so they are full.
So from what your sister says, but we don't know that to be an accurate account.
Oh, she does. She's sitting here with me, and she's my business partner in this. And she is the one that was living in my driveway, and she's the one who called.
And I think you said that you would use about 8 acres of your property?
I never said that,
About
but
how many acres of your property will you mandate for this facility only?
6 acres. And the rest of it can stay wooded. I mean, I don't have an abundance amount of money to clear the whole thing. So I'm just focusing on the center right now toward the 49.
But at this time, but you could expand with the RV park?
Yes, there's nothing stopping me. I can't do that, but I don't want to get big like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I've got one more.
Okay,
Do you own any other RV parks?
No.
No, this will be your first one.
okay. Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, board, we're at a point where we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we deny the request to change from RA to C4.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Mr. Marshy for denial of the application as submitted, a second by Mr. Brown. Any need for discussion? Okay, please bring up the voting portal. Now, remember y'all, this is a motion to deny, so. All right, the motion is denied by 6-0 vote. Thank you for coming in.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Just for the sake of the commission, could you give a count of the persons in support and the persons in opposition?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry, could you get a count, have the persons that are in support and the persons that are in opposition?
Okay,
stand?
physical count?
Yes.
Okay, can I have everyone please stand that is here in opposition? Let's start with that because that's the most. Mr. Clark, can
Thank
you
you.
share
Yes.
that, can you share that for us? To us?
We got 18 to 19. We're
Okay.
gonna go with 18.
Okay, all right, thank you. And could we have those that are in support of this application to stand, please? Okay,
Thank you.
okay, thank you. All right, that concludes that particular case, so y'all are free to go, and the verdict is 6-0 again, so now, that's
It's
it.
going
Okay.
to the commission.
Gotcha, okay. All right. Let me get to my agenda here. All right, that takes us to agenda item number 7, case 23-5-BAP variance for Patrick Pratt. Is the primary spokesperson here for Mr. Pratt's case? Please come forward if you are. Okay, I don't see any primary spokesperson for this case, Mr. Clark. Were we, was?
You can
were we-
ask for if anyone is in favor and if anyone is in opposition.
Okay, all right. Okay, so is there anybody here that would like to speak in favor of the case? All right, seeing none, is there anybody here that would like to speak in opposition to the case? Okay, the primary spokesperson is going to have 10 minutes, so I always say choose wisely.
Joanne Roberson, 5956 Manitoba Lane, 71107, 1 North Place. I'm in opposition of this variance. My husband and I are. I've been in 1 North Place for 32 years. I've never seen a structure this size in the front yard. It goes from maybe 6 to 8 feet from the mailbox. It'll hold at least 3 cars deep. I've never seen it. My primary concern, yeah, there it is right there. My primary concern is, I think the average home in that area is somewhere around $180,000. They've just built new homes in there that's probably worth $300,000. I'm afraid that's gonna bring down the property value. I've never seen it before, and I definitely do oppose it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got one.
Go ahead.
How long has it been there for?
If, I guess, March 20th, March 20th. That's,
Okay.
I see it, I live on the back street, so I'm right behind the street.
Okay.
And if I come in the front of the neighborhood, I don't see it, but if I come in the back side, I'm bound to see it because I see it.
ma'am.
So sometimes I probably came in the front and I didn't notice it right away.
Right.
But that's, I've never seen that before. I thought it was a large storage building, which would, I just learned when I got the letter that it was a detached garage. I mean, I've never seen it before.
Mr. Clark, just a comment. You know, this is a prime example of the reasons why we need zoning and zoning enforcement when we see things like this. So I just want to, you know, we hear a lot of times that people don't want it, we don't need it, and then we have people, there are more than one person here today, it looks like, that are against this, and I think the question was asked in the work session, was there a permit pull for this? And the answer is no, because they would not be, they would not have been allowed to put this in. So, just wanted to make that comment. Any questions? Any questions for Speaker?
I do. Hi, how are you? I heard you mention about the property values and that sort of thing, and the aesthetics of this structure. But what about the safety of the motorists?
Exactly. Exactly. I was going to let the next door neighbor that lives right next door speak on that, because I live on the street behind there. And there are school-age children, but since I'm like a senior citizen, my kids are grown, but she would know more about the amount of children that travel that street. And there would be a safety issue with them on their bicycles in the evening, you know, people walking the dogs. You can't really see, it blocks what's on the other side.
And my concern was the drivers as
Yes.
well. Has that imposed a problem for you driving on the road? Can you see? Is there obstruction to?
It's obstruction when you coming from, I guess when you coming from one direction, you really can't see until you get a certain distance closer to the storage detached garage, and then you can kind of see more. But yeah.
Okay, any more
Thank you.
questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else that would like to come up in opposition?
Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Rebecca Gilliam. I live at 5998 Vancouver Drive. I live to the left of the, if you're this way, I live to the right of the building. I have lived at 1 North Place for the last 23 years. I have some pictures that I want to show, but I'm going to read what I want to say first. I'm writing this letter with the most recent property change that my neighbor, Mr. Pratt, has added to his property. I have taken a little time to look to assess my concerns. I am a single female homeowner that lives to the left of Mr. Pratt. Storage building is what I think it is, but you say it's a detached garage that was placed on the adjoining property. It completely blocks my left side. I often sit on my front porch, and at one time I could sit on my front porch and I could see my entire neighborhood. Now when I sit on my front porch, I only see this building. There's a little crack in between the building and where I can see at the garage. On my front porch, I can only see the side of his house. I can't see the neighborhood. Okay. I am uncomfortable just as recent as this past weekend when I was outside. Mr. Pratt came from around the building and it startled me as I was outside taking care of some things in my own yard. I'm uncomfortable due to the recent, we've had a lot of car break-ins lately. We have had people steal guns out of cars. There's been times over the last 21 years, Mr. Pratt's dog has been out. I have some pictures of that, where his dog is out, and I've called him, Mr. Pratt, please come get your dog. But he doesn't come and get the dog because of just, I guess, just the type of neighbor he is. That's not why I'm here today, but also his birds. The birds oftentimes fly, but now I have something that prevents me from seeing when the birds fly, and I have some pictures of that with the birds on the top of my house on most days. I'm just asking that the Planning Zoning Commission, that you would take consideration of this building being a safety hazard. We do have children that ride the school bus. That bus, the stop sign is where most of the kids ride the bus at. I have some neighbors that often call me and ask me, will I watch their children as they come, or their grandkids as they come down? Now that the building is there, I can't see, and the grandparents can see the stop sign if they come down to the end of their road, but sometimes perhaps they're at work and they don't get to do that. I just ask for the safety. With me, and I ask this question to you all, is that him having a storage building outside of the garage, a storage building should have perhaps been put in the backyard versus in the front yard that we can't see anything, and most certainly without him getting a permit to do so. I do want to show these pictures if I may.
Okay, time is up.
Okay, I can't show them.
Y'all want to see?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Toby.
Okay, this is a picture of my front yard where I usually sit and I watch. I just kind of sit out in there. But now if you see when I sit, I can't see what's going on in the neighborhood. I can only see the building. So anything can come from behind the building. That's my first concern. This is a picture of before the building was put there. There was some other items. I have two pictures up there that from that time frame then I think this was 2019, off of Google Maps, where you can see, where you can clearly just kind of see an open flow of what's going on in the neighborhood. Also, here's a street view of what we used to could see in there. So now, this is my house here. So now when I sit outside, I only see the building. I can't see the neighborhood. My concerns, again, I have many days came home, I've been ran in the house. I can stand out talking to maybe my neighbors or my nieces. This is the dogs that if now that the building is there, I may not be able to see the dog coming around the building. Also, there's always birds flying that he has there. There's often I'm afraid of birds. My grandkids are afraid of birds. I can't even get my grandkids to come to the house because they are afraid, because there have been many times as the birds are flying that the birds, they swoop all over you. There, it stops me from being able to see what's going on. I just ask the board that you would take careful consideration and consider the safety not only of me and my family, but the other residents that reside in 1 North Place.
Okay, do we have
Thank
any
you so
questions
much.
for the speaker? Any questions before she leaves the podium? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, anybody else in opposition that would like to come forward? Okay, just step up, please. You'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. My name's Bruce McVeigh. I live on Yukon Drive. I can't see this from my house, but I have, over the past 20 years, I've lived about there 23 years, I have painted several of the houses in that subdivisions. 3 or 4 of them were brand new and I painted them. And this does not go with the complexion of our neighborhood. Nobody has some monstrosity like that sitting in their front yard out there. And I do see safety issues because it's so close to the street. It just doesn't fit. Not to mention the fact, I can't believe he went out there and put that up without getting permission. I mean, pardon my dad's language, but anybody one-eyed and half sense would know you would need to have some kind of permission or permit or something before you build like something like that. You know, we're not out in the middle of West Texas or something. But you see how close it is to the street. That's just, it's absurd.
Okay.
And it's ugly.
Do we have any questions? Hold on just a second, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry. Anybody else in opposition of the case?
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
My name is Kenneth Taylor. I live at 5952 Canada Court. That picture right there, her house is behind it. You can't even see her house, period. He says a garage. I call it a shed. And to you, he poured the rock out in one day. He had that building built in one day. That's how he got it up. Because he knew if it took any time, people was going to say something and complain. Once he got it up, I got it up now, what can you say about it? I just paid for my house, and I can't see how that is not going to affect my property value. One man's decision is going to affect the entire neighborhood. That is ridiculous. He put that building up in 2 days. He poured the rock out, and he built the building in one day. Thank you.
Any questions for the speaker? Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to come forward in opposition? Okay, did you want to come forward, sir, in the back?
I agree.
Okay, that's good enough. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Clark.
We did receive a request from Mr. Patrick Pratt. If you would allow me, I'd read it into the record. In regards to the hearing that has been scheduled for this month, I humbly ask that you give me a later date so that I can seek more information and facts to be able to better answer any and all questions as it relates to the matter at hand. Thank you so much, Patrick Pratt. That is a request that you defer action on this application today, and it looks like he's not here.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark. I would like to make a motion.
I have a question
Oh,
for Mr.
okay, go
Clark.
ahead.
Mr. Clark, your leadership here, your guidance here, if that request is granted, what is a matter of time frame? A day, a week, a month? Read it in that statement.
This will be to your next meeting.
Oh, next week.
Next meeting.
Next meeting,
Next
month.
meeting. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any more questions?
Mhm.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to deny this application. But-
No,
wait.
point of order on that. We first have to make a motion to deny his request for a later date extension, and I so
Is
move.
that,
Correct.
that's the rule?
Yes,
Yes.
that he has a formal request in to,
Okay, all right.
today. So I move that we deny his request
Okay,
to defer this to a later date.
okay, I second that. Okay, so we need to vote on that.
Yes.
So we're voting to deny the request for deferral. Okay, it looks like it's 6-0, if I'm reading that, is that right? 6-0, is that what y'all see? Yeah, 6-0
6-0, yes.
on denying the deferral. Now, we bring to the floor the motion, right? That we
Yes.
want, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna make the motion again, motion to, thank you for,
Yeah,
this
thank
is
you.
why you're here. Motion to deny the application,
I second.
second by Mr. Marshy. Okay, can we bring the any need for discussion?
I got a question.
Okay,
Meaning the denying the application to have the unit
yes,
take place.
yes,
Thank you.
okay. All right, everybody clear on what we're voting on? Okay, can you read the portal up, Ms. Sherry? Sorry. Okay, on the 6-0, we are denying the application for the applicant. Thank you guys for taking the time to come in and share with us what's going on in your neighborhood.
Let me make a comment to the people who are in opposition. His next step is he has to now deal with the building department, and he's in violation of several ordinances, and they will have to be addressed, and he'll have to address it to them.
So I think he's telling you this so y'all can stay, up to date on this. Make sure you stay tuned to it, because there will be some things happening, legal, not from an ordinance standpoint with that. Okay? You'll
Madam
have to-
Chair,
yes.
just for informational purposes, and I may not heard you correctly, but this is not a rezoning application, so unless this is appealed, your decision is final.
Yes, that's what I said. I said
didn't
it
hear
was
you, and I
I almost said
apologize.
for consideration, yes, sir. Okay, so it's a final decision, is what you're saying, Mr.
Yes,
Clark?
ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Okay, I think Mr. Marshy was just saying that based on what's happening out there, that there will be some potential action because of the violation with the building. Am I correct, Lauren?
Yeah, it
On-
should be.
On the in the driveway, so, okay.
We're good, I just didn't hear you, and I
Okay.
apologize. I
No,
just
it's
wa-
okay.
Did not want to give the citizens a
Right.
misunderstanding.
Right, we want to make sure we inform you guys right, so, okay, thank you for coming in. Okay, that takes us to agenda item number 8, case number 23-4 CTAP Code Text Amendment. Mr. Bailey, we just,
I
see
don't know
Mr.
what
Bailey.
happened to Mr. Bailey, but I guess we can try to get you through these real quickly, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I think there were 4 code text amendments. The first one was the accessory structure that would be allowed to be placed on a lot for personal storage reasons without having a primary or principal building on the lot. That was the first code text amendment. The second amendment was a definition for storage facility on a residential lot. The fourth amendment was dealing with non-conforming lots. We had this heard in the city, and we're asking that it be adopted in the parish where someone with a non-conforming lot can place a residential structure on that lot. And I don't do it as eloquently as Adam does, we'll do it, but those are the amendments, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll make a motion.
Let me see if we have any questions. Do we have any questions about the code text amendments that anybody needs answers to? Okay, seeing none, you have a
Yeah, I have a
motion?
motion that we recommend to the Caddo Parish Commission the change to the Caddo Parish UDC concerning the 4 amendments as published.
Okay, we have a motion for approval, a second by Mr. Humphrey. Marshes was the original motion. Can we have the voting portal, please? All right, on the 6-0, that goes out of this chamber to the Caddo Parish Commission for consideration for changes in the UDC. Okay, very good, very good. All right, moving right along. That ends our public hearing. And we're going to go straight into agenda item number 9, old business committee chair reports. We did meet on, should have had this, I'm sorry. We attempted to meet, or should I say, on for the committee for the master plan to start doing some work with that, and we
It's the 4th.
the 4th of May. We had in attendance myself and Constance Green. Mr. Brown had a late minute change to his agenda beyond his control that he could not be at the meeting. So just to kind of give you just an overview of what myself and Ms. Green talked about, we just kind of affiliated ourselves with where the UDC is housed on the website, looked at the articles, and basically we didn't really discuss anything inside the articles. We just were doing some housekeeping to make sure we knew how to acquire these documents that we needed, and then just kind of adjourned, and with the intentions of getting together with more information once we had time on our own to look over these articles and kind of go through and see where we wanted to start with the codes, and come back to a future meeting, which has not been established. A date has not been established for that yet. So I would hope today, when we leave this meeting, we may be able to get a gathering of the minds so we can look at each other's calendars and see if we can establish a date that we can come in, because we need to, again, let Mr. Clark know so he may post that officially, which I think is required for open meeting laws. And but that meeting was held in your conference room on the 4th floor, Mr. Clark. So that's really about all that we accomplished, was just getting an understanding on the drafts, not necessarily the code that's enforced, but the drafts that were done some years ago, and looking at that, and also familiarizing ourselves with how to obtain the current UDC documents. So, Ms. Green, is there any other input you have on that?
Yes, thank you. Because it's just 3 of us, okay? So it will be very obvious that a person can't meet. I mean, that's just reality. So how do we proceed with moving forward with our goals when that happens again? Because it will happen. Do we continue to press forward? Can we make a final decision? What do we do?
Well, Jake, you may want to get involved in this because you have more information.
Two people there, you've got a quorum,
It's
right?
quorum.
Mr. Bernstein. And then right now, I've put together all those different pages into one document.
Okay.
And I'm going in and I'm redlining it. So I'm going through and putting down some ideas. And I think, it'll be a good starting point for us just when we are able to meet again to sit down and start, because actually a lot of work's already been done on it. It was actually really, really close to being something that would really work well for the people in the rural area. And even though we can't really update the master plan right now, this would make it a lot easier for us on our caseload because it would take out some of these things that we just approve right away, you know, just because it's just something like, why are we hearing this? You know, you should be able to do that. So, I mean, they did a really good job, and it's almost like doing the master plan because the NPC was at all those different meetings, and there was numerous meetings, and they took really good notes, and they actually went back through and actually, I mean, it's really close to being something that's not going to take much from us on our end.
Okay, can you share that, not your red line version, because I thought it was important for us to look at this from an organic standpoint, that we weren't, influenced by anybody else's changes.
I'll
Can
give you the whole thing
the
put
original,
together,
okay.
the original, and then if you have Adobe, I usually keep it in Adobe, but maybe I can convert some to Word, because then you're able to put in, with Adobe I've got the subscription so I can go in and change stuff, but if you don't have it, it's kind of expensive. I can probably do a Word copy and an Adobe copy, because with the Word copy you would be able to go in and
You can double strike it.
Yeah,
But I
double
can,
strike
I can take it either way. I don't know about Ms. Green, but I can take it either way.
Do you like it in Word or Adobe?
I can take it either way.
Okay.
Do you have the 64-bit, 32-bit, which Adobe?
I think it's the 64, but it's like the Pro plan. It lets you go in and like just...
Why don't you send it both ways?
Okay, I'll send it both ways.
And that way we can
And then we
choose.
just have it.
Okay.
But I think that's the best way is for everybody to go through it, familiarize yourself with it, and then just see anywhere you think that maybe, you know, something's not needed, or maybe something needs to be added.
Something we can gain.
And then we can all just round table it at our next meeting. But I mean, I still think, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. So, I mean, I still think we might need to be looking at it to the next meeting and then push it, you know, and then try to plan then to see about doing a meeting.
Well, I need to see how this document is set up, because, I mean, in my mind, I thought we could probably, like, section it out and work
We
sections
can,
at a
but I mean, I
time.
almost think it's better for everybody to look at it from their own perspective, and then for us to come back with the whole thing done, and for us to collaborate what we think's best, because Ms. Green might look at a section differently than I did and actually have some good recommendations that I didn't think of.
Right, that's
and
what.
you, same with you, you've been on the board a lot longer than us.
Yeah, I
so.
agree with that. That's what, because I said I would like to look at it without any influence of
Right.
anybody else's
I'm
opinion.
gonna send you a
think I'm
blank
missing-
document that's just what they've put together, but all combined so that you don't have to click, and
Yeah.
it's just all together. And that's what I'm doing with it, and then I'm just going through and making notes, and I've just started on it.
Okay, I guess what I was responding to, maybe I just misunderstood your statement, was that when we get ready to present something to this board for consideration, that are we talking about doing it as a whole, or are we talking about taking sections of it and presenting it? How is this board gonna swallow that?
I mean, I think, first we need to meet and just get.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, just see
Okay, okay.
what comes in, after we go through it.
Okay.
Can it be a whole thing, or do we need to split it up between 2 or 3 different meetings?
Okay, and because I want
You know,
them to
so-
understand the reason I'm saying this is I want the 3 people that are not on that committee to understand, and the staff to understand what we're taking on and how that may look. It may come out in sections, it may come out as a whole. We haven't decided that yet. So, just to educate those that are not involved in this.
But a lot of work was already done on it. Like, I was really impressed with it was pretty much, you might have not needed HB 697 if we would have just passed this thing. I mean, they pretty much set it up to where it would have made a lot of people happy. So,
Okay. What a compliment, Mr. Clark.
No, and
What a
like
compliment.
I've shared so many times, Jake will agree with this. We were together in our discussions that there may have been a need for HB 697, and we respected that. But we were on the same page and coming up with similar ideas throughout the process. But I really appreciate Mr. Brown giving us those accolades. We haven't gotten many.
whoever did it, y'all did a really good job on it. Like, it was
We
really.
went through it and made sure that everything that we heard at those meetings was addressed.
And that's what I like about it, is because it's almost like what they're trying to do with the master plan.
Right.
These were, at churches, big groups of people coming together saying, we don't like this, we don't like that. And I mean, it was perfect, because we went all around the whole area, and it's a really good representation of the 5-mile zone. So.
Now, he's speaking after, like, that happened after we already had the UDC in place. We already had
Right,
the
we had
master
the
plan in
UDC.
place. This was as a result of Caddo Alliance for Freedom and the history of that coming forward, which resulted in this board being separated. So, because we talked earlier about
Right.
the meetings not being adequate, this was at the helm. Mr. Clark was at the helm of this ship whenever that happened.
Right.
Whenever they went back and had these meetings with the public at churches and things. And I was able to attend some of those myself, so they were very fruitful. Is there any questions anybody has that's not on this committee, that has any questions about what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve? Anything I can answer, Jake can answer?
I just want to make our
Green?
lives easy, you
Yes.
know, and I mean, I think it'll be better for everybody if we have something that represents the area and, you know, it's, you know, we won't have to deal with as much and we could just really zone in on the problem areas that we have to deal with. I think it'll just be better for everybody.
Well, thank you, Mr. Clark and Mr. Jean, because that is quite the compliment. I haven't had time to, I'll be honest with you, to sit down and look at it at this point. But if Jake is saying that, I take it to the bank that it's a good job, so.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's old business.
Do you know when you will have an opportunity?
I'm gonna send it to you guys, like, I'll send it to you probably tomorrow, like, the whole document together, and then, yeah, I like to read through the whole thing first, before I do anything, and then I read through it again, and then I start making my changes. I like to read it a few times, just to feel it, before, you know, you really, because you gotta read it all to get the context of it a lot of times, so.
Okay, Mr. Bernstein, do we need to appoint a chair to that committee? Is that necessary? Is it mandatory? It's just, doesn't matter?
We have
Okay.
3 people.
Okay, I know, but just, okay, that takes us to number 10, new business. Does anybody have any new business we want to discuss? Okay, no, I don't see any takers. Okay, number 11, other matters to be reviewed by the commission, director's report. Mr. Clark, you have something?
Let me just quickly do a couple of things. I thought that today was an excellent meeting. I love citizen engagement. I love citizen participation, because then you begin to understand how the citizens feel about what's happening in their areas. So I thought today was an excellent meeting. I thought that the citizens conducted themselves in a very, very polite manner. They came, they stated their positions. They were not disrespectful, they were not ugly. They just stated and this is what we like to see happen, because that's what citizen engagement is all about. We talked about disclosure. The disclosures had to be submitted by May 15th. It looked around and it appeared that everybody had taken care of disclosure. I just wanted to share with you, we were a little helter-skelter today because we had 2 staff members out. And I shared with you that Emily Trant and Walter Johnson are in El Paso, and they are involved in the Neighborhood USA conference. And they will bring back valuable information because they're not only participating in the conference, they are making a presentation at the conference about the neighborhood participation plan meetings. And you listen to the citizens today. They did have MPP meetings. Those meetings were fruitful. They may not, and they appear to have been civilized meetings. And this is what we're trying to get to. We fought enough. Let's come together and have positive meetings and come up with solutions and recommendations. So I thought that this was one of the best meetings that I think we've had, and it shows the maturity of the board and how you're getting to where you really want it to be. And it is excellent that the citizens here are looking at citizens from the unincorporated areas, so they feel engaged because they know that you understand what they're talking about. And that might have been a deficiency in the previous board that we had. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. I will just kind of echo, it's really heartbreaking, and it just goes to how emotional these things become, because this lady was very upset today at the podium, just holding back her tears. And you know, it's a very serious matter. We all know that. We're in this business, and so it makes me feel good when we I feel like we've made some really good decisions today about some things that went in the direction I felt like they should, and I think we all unanimously voted on each one of these cases. So,
I'd like to add this.
Mhm.
We had a lot of facts presented today from our constituents, from our audience. You know, they came with facts. And I'm sure some of it could have been opinionated, but they brought what we needed to make those.
And I would like to think that the planners brought you a wealth of information in this
Absolutely.
pre-briefing also. They don't get the compliments that they deserve sometimes, but they're a bunch of hard-working young people that really go into the weeds of these cases and produce that information. And Stephen does a wonderful job of overseeing their presentations and so forth.
Certainly.
This was one of the thickest packages I've seen on this board, on this first case. And I would just close with this. The lady that did the opposition that came up, that might have been the best opposition
It was.
for the 10 minutes I've ever heard. So, I was thinking that as she was
It
talking.
was well prepared, and she knew what she was talking about.
Okay, chair, board members' comments, I don't need to comment on anything else, I know we're ready to go home, we're gonna get out here early today. Any comments from anybody, anything anybody wants to say?
Good job.
But I let one person go over today, but I did that with y'all's head shake, so. All right, Ms. Hart, you're awfully quiet over here.
When is our next meeting?
What's the date of the next meeting, Shari?
Fourth Wednesday, what is it?
Let's write it down.
June 28th, and it will be as the rest of your pre-briefing meetings will be. They will be training meetings.
And we're getting fed?
You will have a box lunch for those meetings, and we will evaluate each of these meetings. If the agenda is long, and we may need to ask you to come in at 1 o'clock on those extremely long agendas, but otherwise 1:30, and we'll have that, and we will conduct the training meetings as we've been conducting them.
Okay. All right, I'm looking for those magic words, I think, at this point.
We adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn. Meeting's closed.
I knew that.
All right, very good.